Hello, my friend, brothers and sisters. I want to talk to you a little bit here about this little practice here. This little practice here of rope flow. Yeah, that's one thing. Um, but what is it? What is it about this practice here? What is it about flowing with this rope here that keeps bringing me back to stand in front of this little camera here to talk to you? Well, I will do my best here to explain a great deal of why I think it's so important. Okay, and I think you may you may catch my drift here. So first of all, we've got a rope here that is connecting my two hands. My two hands are connected to the rope. I have a left hand here. I have a right hand here. Right? Yeah. So I'm going back and forth, 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 back and forth. And I can do this for a while. I could do this for a good long while. And I could get into it, right? This is my hands moving back and forth across the midline, right? Crossing the midline, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, the left and the right and the left and the right. We know as we work to develop, as we're developing the brain and nervous system, that the left hand generally is associated with the right side of the brain. The right hand generally associated with the left side of the brain. When we work with our right hand, we're generally activating things on the left side of the brain and vice versa, right? But what we're doing both. And generally what we're either left-handed or we're right-handed. Most people are right-handed apparently. Either left-handed or right-handed. We're either left brain or right brain, right? We're either what, type A or type B. But look at this. We're going back and forth and back and forth. And what do we know about the back and forth? We go back and forth. It builds the connection between the left and the right hemisphere, right? And there are a certain number of patterns that we talk about, that we go over in different videos. And establishing those patterns does a lot to build those connections. This is very simple right here. This is very simple. Anyone can do this at any age, and you get lots and lots and lots of repetition. And what that repetition is the wrapping of the myelin that goes from axon to axon. The connection. We're talking about connections, electrical connections in the nervous system, right? And so the more repetitions that you can get in, the more insulation basically that the stronger current and the more durable the current as well, right? So we're talking about mental health, we're talking about longevity, we're talking about mental clarity, and much more, much more. So this is the most basic thing you can do here, and anyone could do it. This is the underhand. Now we're going to go overhand, and this activates the nervous system in a holistic way. I'll say a holistic way. We got this one here. Look, this is an overhand. We're still going left, right, left, right. Look at this one. Look at this one. Left, right, left. Going in front of the body, behind the body, in front, behind, in front, behind, in front, behind, left and right. So we're working, connecting the two hemispheres of the brain with a piece of rope in a particular way, in a particular pattern that allows anybody to do this who has a piece of rope, and it allows us to get many, 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 many repetitions without getting tired or gassed out. Okay, why is this important? Well, let me read to you a little bit from a book here that I recently just picked back up again. So this is a book. It's called The Next Octave by Stephanie McPeak Petersen. I'm going to read to you a little bit from this book. So the first chapter here that I want to read from, the first chapter is called Human Tuning Forks. And right at the beginning, it has a nice little quote here from Victor Schauberger. You must learn to think one octave higher. This book is called The Next Octave, right? Okay, I think I said that. So let's start here. The pursuit of raising consciousness is done with our conscious minds, though ironically doing so involves quieting the conscious mind. Meditating can aid in raising the body's vibration and energy through the chakras to achieve a greater sense of connection and love for the world around us. But this effort put forth by the conscious bicameral brain requires teamwork. It requires fraternizing, a friendly communication between the two hemispheres of the brain. The brain's left hemisphere is driven by dopamine producing task orientation focused on identifying a goal, for example, to meditate in order to raise one's body's energetic frequency. Goal orientation. But it's the right hemisphere that is framing and appreciating the joyful emotions that result. The part of the brain that allows these two sides to communicate and work together is the corpus callosum, under which is tucked the pineal gland that many refer to as the third eye. Okay. Neither side alone engages in the full act of thinking. It involves combinations of skepticism and suggestibility, as neither employed alone leads the mind to truth. So we're talking about the ability to ascertain truth. It can't happen with just one side, with both sides. We got the left and the right, the one, the two, and the three. That unification could best be described as a state of open-mindedness, allowing all sides of any issue to be entertained while seeing and appreciating both detail and the whole at the same time. Unity within the brain can help us achieve unity in other places. Ultimately, higher personal frequencies promise to peel away the levels of our separateness within the universe. Okay, philosophy. All of these wonderful philosophies about love and about harmony and about unity and about this and about that and all these things are practical. They're practical. They're practiceable, is what I'm saying. They're practicable. We can practice unifying the left and the right, and it's natural. It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing, and it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be painful, all of these things. This is, you can look at this as exercise, and that's fine. To an extent, yeah, it can be that, and it is that. But we're talking about that and, right? We're talking about that and. Let me read a little bit more here. Okay, so chapter 2, we're going to move to chapter 2, the philosophy of sounds, right? So the subtitle of this book is it's the next octave, a sustainable economy encoded in music. Economy, money, music, capital, wealth, music, and movement? How? What? Yeah. It's all the same thing. Okay, so here we go. I think this is where I wanted to read from. Yeah, so what happens was to paraphrase just a little bit as I'm skipping forward, we go from left and right. If we just adhere to one side or the other, right? It's like, okay, well, you're this or you're that. If somebody says, well, you're type A or you're type B, well, then that means you're like this. I'm not interested in that, or whatever. We type people like that. So, and whenever we do that, it doesn't allow for the full expression of our energy, right? It doesn't allow for those two sides to be fully active at the same time. It's the left and the right. So we justify our personal descent into lower energy with the belief that our fight is noble, right? So if we go, oh, well, the left is the way to go, right? I'm this way. I'm an artist and I don't, concern myself with this and this and this and this, or I'm, a type A go-getter. I don't, ever rest, or you get the picture, right? We choose one side, blue or red. Be blue or red. I mean, that's obvious. You got to choose one or the other, right? You can't be both. Is one or the other. Yeah. So we justify our descent into lower energy with the belief that our fight is noble. Notice the way light workers, people who meditate on opening the heart chakra and who pray for Mother Earth, have nevertheless embraced political division for the correct cause, right? Hatred is spiritually justified if the object of our hatred is the correct one. For the last 4 years, the correct object of hatred have been for people who are otherwise expressing love and light, have been the president, whatever president is in office, right? So every decade has a justifiable hatred. Now, that's not to say that these political leaders are without stain, but it is to say that there is no such thing as one good side and one bad side. In the case of politics, both sides are stained, and picking one or the other is not only failing to elevate us, it's disempowering us. Many have been distracted into a prolonged struggle with evil rather than choosing to learn from evil and quickly move on. When we descend into conflict, our precious energy is consumed and lost. Okay, man, that's so important when it comes to, what do we talk about, health? Are we interested in health and healing? Are you interested in health and healing? Are you interested in energy? What is it that you're interested in? Economics, anything. Like you want to have more money in your bank account, or you want to have more wealth in your life. What is it? Well, this all has to do with the ability to maintain a certain level of energy over time, right? When we descend into conflict, our precious energy is consumed and lost. So in order to heal the body is electrical in nature, right? In order to heal the body, there has to be a certain level of energy available over time. Our cells need to be able to be active and to be able to do what they need to do and communicate with the whole entire system in order for us to heal ourselves, but then also in order for us to do what it is we're here to do, right? Okay, let's see here. There is just one more thing. Engaging in the noble fight is our own denial that we've entered a war mentality. The picking of sides may feel empowering, but it allows us to be more easily hurted by following the trends of our chosen side. War is based on group identities rather than individual identities, and group identities can never truly define or encapsulate any individual. These identities break down as we learn more details about the individuals comprising any group. Factions eventually emerge in every group, and those factions then begin new conflicts. We don't embark on our spiritual journeys as a group, ascension to higher states as personal and individual. Okay, so the main point is the harmony that is activated internally in our brain as we learn to do that, as we learn to work both sides, as we build the connection from the left and right. And there are many ways to do this physiologically, physically, practically, with our hands, with our feet. The hands and the feet build the brain, right? Okay, so you can write with both hands. That's a great thing to do. We can practice rope flow. That's a wonderful thing to do. Building the bridge between the left and the right, the corpus callosum, right? Transcending the never-ending battle, the never-ending fight internally first, internally, right? And then what happens? Then what happens when we do it first? On the website of Intervision Yoga, Jeff Martin shares the story of a threatened dog that exhibited the quality of the Buddhist lila. Lila is playfulness, the divine play, the reconciliatory act of play. A wildlife photographer was snapping shots of a group of leashed huskies when a polar bear wandered too close to the dogs. Most of them, unable to escape the tethers, reacted defensively. The bear then became aggressive and predatory. But one of the huskies began to jump and bounce into a play bow. Its playful energy had an effect on the polar bear, and the two animals eventually began to play together in a way that huskies and polar bears are not known to do. The two fraternize briefly as brothers. A similar fraternization between opposing cerebral hemispheres is motivated by the fact that the two sides of the brain are also complementary. Life as an experiment in coordination requires the reconciliation of their duality. And the less we're fighting, whether internally or with each other, the better. Thank you. Thank you.